Now going on to question number 8. Now, I've been an SAT, ACT tutor for more than 15 years, and I'm one of the more specialized SAT, ACT tutors in the world. And this question made my brain hurt until I realized what they were really doing. So, this question is just a reminder that it's all the more important to know your background concepts. Whenever you see us on our gradeful videos go over to these different side screens, these are the recurring concepts that come up a lot on the SAT. And you really need to know them well, because that's the way to really get better, is to kind of understand the concept behind the question and how that concept gets permeated in different manners on different questions. So let's just review for a moment the exponential equation. Exponential equations are generally in the format of a times b to the x, where a is the starting amount, b is the way it changes, and x is the number of times that this all happens. It's very common on the SAT to see this exponent turn from x to x over some number. So if I started with a certain amount of money and it changes, instead of changing every year, if I see x over 3, that would be a change happening every 3 years or every 3 hours or whatever x represents. If x is the number of months, then x over 3 would be every 3 months. And I'm just randomly picking the number 3 just to have a number there. Now, coming back to this question, trying to understand it, we have something increasing by a factor of 27. So if we're thinking back about the easier a times b to the x, b is how it changes, how it increases or decreases. So we really need the number 27 there in one way or another. And which answer has 27 there? Really, this one right here does, because 3 to the third power is 27. So does the rest of it fit? Well, this part right here, the 1 over 6x, that can also be stated as x over 6. And so it's kind of matching this. So x over 6 would be every 6 whatevers. And so let's see what's being said here. It's increasing by a factor of 27. And it's saying at the beginning, each increase in the value of x by c causes this thing to increase by a factor of 27. Which form shows 1 over c as a coefficient? So if we think about that, as x goes up by c, and then we're talking about 1 over c, that's another way to say what we've been saying. For instance, let's just say this thing goes up every 6 months, because that's the way we've been thinking about these as time periods. So now as x goes up by 6, let's say, if in some scenario x were the number of months, so that's another way to say every 6 months, because the number of months went up by 6. And what we said in the beginning was, if this change was happening every 6 months, we would see that in our equation as 1 over 6, or x over 6, better. So that's exactly what's happening here. Instead of having x in the exponent, we're having x times 1 over 6. So as x is going up by 1 over 6, we're multiplying 1 over 6 by our x, we're getting the equation to increase by a factor of 27. So it's very complicated here, but we're dealing with this SAT wording, and absolutely, out of this question type, this is the hardest one I've ever seen. But it's just more reason for you to realize that you've got to make sure when you see these side screens on our videos that you really come to understand those concepts, because they are so fundamental to your success. In any case, the answer here is B.